Hello, good evening. Savva here from Football Heritage TV. Apologies, that was completely my end. Technical problems. Couldn't quite get StreamYard and YouTube to link up together, so I do apologise. Completely my fault. For a late night rant, chat, talk about Tottenham Hotspur, I have got on Alan from Time Added On. Big up, Alan. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. It's the day before our biggest game of the season. Only 2 games in. So, let's just hope good football and, hopefully it's a positive result, but not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, very well, thank you. I'm really, really good. And I'm feeling a bit better tonight after certain news that we've just heard, but we'll come to that in a second. And as always, Sean from Spurs Talk Show. Sean
Hello.
Butler. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. How you doing?
Very well, very well. Yeah, just been watching. It's nice, isn't it? I stayed in tonight, watched a bit of football. It's what caught 15 minutes of the Bayern Munich game. Watched a bit of Leeds versus West Brom, and it's been a nice evening. It's been a nice
Harry Kane's goal. He missed the pen, and the goal that he scored was going wide before it got deflected in. Just
he doesn't play for us anymore. He doesn't play for us anymore. But in other news, Nottingham Forest have got their first 3 points of the season, beating Sheffield United 2-1. Guys and girls, let's start off. Big up to everyone in the chat as well. Big up to absolutely everyone. You know the rules. Smash that like button. Keep subscribing. We're now 60 subscribers away from the magical. I don't know why it's magical. It just feels like a milestone from the 10K. Let me start. Either of you, both of you, let's just talk about this. The news has been circling tonight from multiple sources that Luton Town have approached Tottenham Hotspur about taking Tanganga. Now, when this happens with most football clubs, things get wrapped up quickly. But in true Tottenham fashion, the reports you're hearing are they want a loan. We want it to be permanent. Cue Daniel Levy, negotiation 101. Is this good for Tottenham? Is it bad? Does it only count if it's a permanent signing? What do you guys make of Tanganga and Luton?
He was supposed to be going to... He's also got interest from, was it Inter Milan?
Inter?
Or, no, hang on. I made a message about it earlier. There's a team in...
I'd be surprised.
I think it might be Inter. Or it might be AC. There's a team in Italy that are after him that are saying, and they're saying if their deal for Benjamin Pavard breaks down, then they'll turn their attention to Japhet Tanganga. And I was laughing, going, hold up a minute. Tanganga's going to hold out for the Italian club, whichever club it was. And that club, their fans are going to get excited about Pavard. And if Pavard falls apart, they're getting Japhet Tanganga. What's going on?
Wow.
What are we doing here? What are we doing?
That is mental. I mean, Alan, if you remember, I think it was this time last year, or was it the year before? I'm not quite sure because all our transfer windows kind of feel the same. Yeah. That Tanganga was, then wasn't going to AC Milan, right? I think he was going to go on loan or sold to AC. Like, what? What are we missing?
I don't know what we're missing, to be fair. I mean, it's the same with every transfer window with Spurs in regards to getting Deadwood. I put it in your chat earlier on today that at the moment, being at Spurs is getting a lifetime membership. You can't be got rid of and all that. I mean, Hugo Lloris, I saw a thing today that Hugo Lloris apparently is turning down Lazio because he's not going to be number one.
We're going to move on to that one, Alan. Don't you worry. I'm annoyed about that one as well.
This is what I mean. Like, we're literally giving players away and they won't go. It's just like a boomerang. We throw them out and they just come back to Spain. And it's just like, go away. We don't like you anymore. It's like, we just, it's the ex that you'd going, I don't want you back. And they keep coming back and like, and like, just go away. And it's just happening time and time again. I don't know what we need to do to get rid of players.
Luton's a good move though, Alan, right? Like, Luton's a better move for Japhet Tanganga than Milan is. If he goes to Milan, he won't start. If he goes to Luton, he's got half a chance. That guy needs to kickstart his career. It's a Premier League club. He's going to be on the receiving end of 80% possession, 70% possession against most games, especially when Luton are away from home. Like, to me, it's the perfect litmus test to see what Japhet Tanganga's got about him.
I'll be honest. If he's leaving Spurs, I just don't care. He can go wherever he wants. He's not a Spurs player. Wish him the best, but I just don't. It's like
it'd be a loan deal, right? If it's a loan deal and he goes and kills it,
But here's the like, I mean, if it's a loan deal, it's just typical Spurs not being able to get rid of players. I'd rather sell if we can loan him all the time. But for some reason, people that go out on loan to come back to Spurs just always are still as bad as when they left, and doesn't matter. Like, I can't think off the top of my head of somebody we've got put out on loan who's done really well, has come back and keeps on to bigger and better things. No, Oliver Skip. Oh my God, no, he's not at the level. No,
well, he's better off. He's better off for the loan to Norwich, though. He smashed it in the Championship.
But isn't there another way of looking at this, guys? When was the last time one of our players went on loan that we didn't want, and then that club was so impressed with what they did on loan and went, "We'll have you." Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're ours. Like all the players that came back from loan last year, have any of them made that move?
Lo Celso hasn't unimpressed. I don't think.
They send them back to us gift wraps. That's what they give.
But what, Sean? What I mean is Ndombele Napoli, right? Lo Celso Villarreal, Rround Rennes. I think he was at Rennes last year, or one of those teams. Reguilon, Atletico Madrid. Jed Spence to
Destiny Udogie. How about that? It's a perfect example.
Yeah, but Destiny Udogie had never played in our team,
and he stayed where he was. He was already comfortable there.
Yeah. But I mean, it is a worry, isn't it? Because look, the rules change every year, and I always get a bit confused as to what you're allowed to do these days with ins and outs of loans. But if we've got Rround going out on loan, Sean, and then Tanganga's going out on loan, my understanding is you're only allowed, is it 8 or 7?
8 overseas, which is again why I think Tanganga to Luton makes more sense, because you might end up, because you can do as many as you want internally. You can only, I think that's the rule. You can only do 8 overseas. And I think that Tanganga is going to get, I genuinely think, look, we can make our mind up. I don't think any of us have seen enough of him to know whether he's got it or not. Of Japhet Tanganga, right? Like, He's hung around. I think that he's not ready for Tottenham's level yet, but he's never really had a sustained period of time. He's had an injury-plagued career, etc. Like, I'm not saying that I think he's going to make it at Tottenham, but you might end up finding that there's a 10-15 million pound player in there, and that happens by sending him to Luton more than it does by sending him to Inter Milan, where he sits on the bench.
Listen, you know what I agree. I agree.
Premier League experience. He's going to play more minutes. It doesn't take up one of the 8 loan positions. And then if he does do well there, then he still won't come back and be a Tottenham player. But at least you've got a value where you can sell him to Luton or to somebody else who's seen him play minutes in a defensive system. So I think that it makes a lot of sense. I'm up for it.
Yeah. Listen, I think there's 2 ways of looking at this. Let me ask you, right? From a Spurs perspective, I think you're bang on, Sean. Obviously, we don't know Tanganga as a person. We don't know his personality. Do the flashy lights? Let's just assume it was. You're being told, right, go play at Luton. You can go play at Luton. You're going to get, let's assume, 90 minutes week in, week out. Or do you want to go and play over at Inter Milan, who, let's be realistic, will be there or thereabouts in terms of a Serie A title challenge, plus Champions League, plus he'll be playing with much better players. Front of?
Inter Milan have still got Skriniar, they've still got Bastoni, right?
That's my point. But do the flashing lights, because we've seen it. How many of these players care now more about the flashing lights, all of this, rather than playing? Back in the day when there weren't these massive salaries, people would have moved, like half our Deadwood would have moved by now because they would want to play football. Now half our Deadwood sits there going, nice, all right here. Spurs got the best training ground.
I think Tanganga's on like 25 grand a week, right? It's like, I know it's a lot of money for us, but it's not a lot of money for a footballer. I don't think he's not a lot of money. If his agent was to sit there and say, no, go on then, go to Inter, put yourself in the shop window, but by doing that, you're going to play 0 minutes, versus go to Luton. Let's see what you can do. I think that anybody, his mum, his dad, his brothers, whatever, someone's got to tap him on the head and go, forget about the Milan Fashion Week. You don't even have to leave home to get to Luton. If he lives in North London, Luton's not that far away. You can still get to Luton's training ground every day. I think that, to me, the Luton move is I think it's perfect for him at his age.
So let's have a look then, Sean, shall we? Let's have a look. This is, according to Sky Sports, This is the list of defenders at Inter Milan. So they've got Denzel Dumfries, De Vrij,
centre back,
Acerbi. I don't know if this is this year, so have I got the wrong year up? Hang on. No, this looks like this could be the right year. Darmian, De Vrij, Bastoni. You're right. He's not.
Caligaris is a kid. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
he's not getting game time. As if he goes to, if he goes to,
game time. No, he's not
if he goes to Inter Milan. So, Alan, as a fan, you've taken the stance of, I just don't care as long as he's not here. But if we just don't care, what's the point in loaning him to Inter Milan? Do you know what I mean? Like, to Sean's point, what is the point of sending a bloke to Inter Milan if we're not getting money for him and he's not actually playing and getting any value for Tottenham further down the line?
It's typical Spurs in the way we do business, but half the time none of it makes sense. For me, I'd say if we're going to get rid of him, sell him and get him to another club. But if we go by the whole, like, we don't know what they've done at Spurs yet or what they can be. That's how Carter Vickers stayed here for too long. That's how Harry Winks was here for too long. Tanganga's another one. Ben Davies never really hit the standards, but we've kept him. And it's a continual vicious cycle for Spurs in the fact that we always have mediocre players here for many years, far too long. Sorry, I'm late. I didn't want. For me, we just got to get him off our books in regards to selling him. All this like loan, it just how we can't just sell players like other teams can is beyond me. It's always loan with an option, never an obligation, and it's just I don't know how badly we can be run in the fact that we can't. We've got 38 players in this team. Was it 35 or 38 we've got to get it down, not get it down to 25, but we've got the biggest bloated squad in the Premier League, and most of them are filled with average players. And it's just, it bothers me. I would get rid of Tanganga to any club that would take him. I'd do the same with many other people in there. But like I said, we can't give them away. We can't give these players away.
Yeah, listen, you're not wrong. I mean, Sean, how much of a concern is it for Tottenham that this window we have seen bids come in for Lo Celso, for Reggie, for Højbjerg, for Lloris, for what looks like now Tanganga, for Sanchez, and it feels like all of these people seem to be saying the same thing. It feels like Spurs are seemingly accepting bids, and more often than not, again, we don't know this for sure, but it seems like the players are the ones saying, I don't want to go. Like, how much of a worry is that? A, that they don't seem to care about playing, and B, that it's a huge issue for us that we won't seem to be buying anyone else until we get them out. It's a huge rock and hard place moment, isn't it?
I don't know. I think that, look, Daniel Levy is the master negotiator that isn't a master negotiator with his stability. You know, he likes to say it's my way or the, you know, it's a win-win. It's a win-lose scenario. It's always the zero-sum game. What I would say is, like, let's use one example, Hugo Lloris, right? Yep. If Hugo Lloris has got 1 year left on his contract and he's earning 100 grand a year, and Tottenham is saying, you're not wanted, go and sign a contract with whoever you want. Like, we didn't take you on tour. You've got all that time to go and find yourself a new home. And he sat there and gone, I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush. His agent's saying that you're not going to get 100 grand a week elsewhere. So just run the clock down. If it then turns out that Daniel Levy says, look, we'll tear your contract up, but we're not going to pay you out the 5 million that we owe you, right? I'll give you $1 million as a goodbye, and then you can go and make up the difference with your new salary. And Hugo Lloris says, no, I want the full money, or whatever, or I want 4 million. I don't understand why Daniel Levy doesn't just say, the only way you're getting your 100 grand a week, if you are still here at the end of the window, then you are running laps all day, every day at training, because we won't register you as a player, but we will ask you to do your job, and your job will be to run laps around pitches. I don't understand why we don't just put the hammer down on some of these players. You can make the same argument for 2 or 3 other players that are in their final year. If they are waiting for the contract to be torn up and Daniel Levy refuses to tear it up and pay the players out, then why not just threaten them with the ultimatum of, if you're still here and you won't go because you think you've got a better life in London, do you really want to run laps all day, every day? Because that's what will happen. We'll just put you into your own little group of players. So I feel like if there was a little bit more of like a hard basket, then these people would be a little bit more incentivized to go and take whatever the contract tear-up situation is, $1 million, $2 million, whatever they're owed, half of what they're owed, a quarter of what they're owed, and then they can go and make it up elsewhere. And Ndombele could fall into that bracket, even though he's owed 20 million. But Dyer, Sanchez, Lloris, there's 2 or 3 or 4 players that are in that bucket. And, we've got 13 days left of the window, and we probably got 10, 11 players that we need to go to move out, and 2 or 3 players that we need in. That's a player a day. It's a player a day.
Listen, I don't disagree with you with a sentiment. I mean, Alan, look, there are so many players that are here as Deadwood. And like, I literally see all of these, like, even look at West Ham. Look at some of, forget Rice. Rice to them is like Kane to us, right? Rice is a top player who's going to get snapped up. Even then, you look at Deadwood that they didn't want that have been moved on, like Vlasic, come and gone. Skamaka, come and gone. Like, why are we the only team, it seems, that can't? Now, people will say, oh, you're exaggerating, other teams can't, but this is year in, year out.
Yeah.
We were having this conversation. I mean, I didn't know you at the time, Alan, this time last year, but Sean, you and I were streaming last year, this time saying, in this last few weeks, 6 or 7 of these players have got to go. And we're still sitting here a year later going, some of these players have got
the can down the road. There's no more road left.
There is no more road. So, Alan, why are we paying? Are we paying for our sins of the last few years of running the club badly, that this is the situation we're in? Or is it because we haven't got a proper director of football that can wheel and deal and make these things happen?
Well, I'm just trying to think to myself, even when we, like, not director of football, but obviously when we've had people in like Paradise and that, even then we've been quite bad at getting players out the door. I can't recall ever a time where I've seen 5 or 6 players leave that we know that needs to leave like that, or get done in the week or two. We're 2 weeks, is it 2 weeks away from the start of the window? And we have 1 player that's left us, and it's Harry Winks. It's absolutely, I can't believe how shocking we are run as a club. But I think it's down to, and this is just obviously from what I see, every year we buy players, we haggle, we try and get cheaper, like money off, staggering this and the other. When it comes to selling players, the one that leaps off the top of my head was Harry Winks. I think Villa or Everton wanted him for 25 million. We were like 40 million. We always seem to want to undercut for buying players, but seem to overprice for selling. And I think for so long, we've rubbed so many people out the wrong way. We also have sentiment in our club where we hold on to players for too long. And when it comes time to shift them on because we have no alternative, people are like, no, just you're not good enough for our club. And if we can't get rid of, if Jaffa Tanganga is the only one that can go to a Luton in this league and nobody else wants anyone in this league, then that goes to say a lot about how we do business, how we run as a club, the type of people we still employ at this club. And I'm just like, I just don't know how you can get rid of all of these players and start again. You're trying to do a rebuild or start a new thing with Ange, but you've got remnants of 3 or 4 different managers that have gone stale at Spurs. How are you meant to be? Because you're trying to bring in new players, but you've got players you can't get rid of. So it's going to hold up being able to bring in stuff at Ange. And I just, the way we run, I just say again, the way we run on the football inside of things, we're an absolute joke. We really are an absolute joke.
Yeah, I mean, look, off the top of our heads collectively, who's got 1 year left, guys? Whose contract actually runs out this time next year?
Lloris, Dyer.
Right.
Sanchez. I think there's
is Lo Celso got one more year left, or he's got 2?
He's got 2. Ndombele's got 2. Sonny's got 3. Sessegnon's got 2.
I mean, how on earth has that man still got 2? He was here 4 years.
Yeah, we signed him on a 6-year deal, and and that is listen. Not to get off the topic,
I know what you're going to say.
Everybody that's selling, you know what I'm going to say.
Chelsea.
I'm going to say Chelsea. Exactly. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, no. You're right, Sean. Except the difference is the caliber of players Chelsea are buying aren't right.
But the caliber of players, at the moment, right? But a lot of people 5 years ago thought that Sessegnon was the real deal when he was 18 years old, right? Like, I don't know. We'll find out what happens to Mudryk. We'll find out what happens to Fofana and all those guys. We'll find out.
Do you know the difference with that though? The thing is, the moment Chelsea realise, whether that's 6 months, a year, 18 months. The moment they realise it's not worked out, they shift these players on.
Correct.
This is the problem. This is the difference. Spurs, listen, the fans are as bad. I don't know how many years we see bad players and still keep going, well, maybe this year in their 5th season will be the year that we get something out of them.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. I agree.
Not just Chelsea. Don't get me wrong. Like Man U have done this as well, by the way. Man U had Phil Jones for like a decade.
Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire's contract was 5 years, I think, maybe even 6. Like, it was ridiculous.
Sure,
right?
Sure. But it just feels with us. I think the difference is that this is every single summer with us. Like Sanchez is this his 7th season at Tottenham? Is this going to be that?
No.
I mean,
20
no.
Came in.
He's on his first. He's still on his first contract. So I think he signed a 5-year deal. So I think he signed a 5-year deal. So he's been here for this is his 5th year.
Yeah, he came in the season at Wembley, didn't he?
No, guys, he played the 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23. This is his 7th season at Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, has he signed a new contract then? Has he signed a second contract at Tottenham?
There you go. Look. There you go. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is his 7th season at Tottenham Hotspur.
Wow.
Like, honestly, I know people will go, "Oh, he had a good game the other day." Let that sink in. 7 years.
He must have got a new contract. There's no way we signed him on an 8-year contract. So he must have. The 8-year contracts weren't a thing in 2017.
Maybe Big Davinson Sanchez needs to get the credit for being the trailblazer of the 8-year contract.
He must have a new one at some point. That's crazy.
Hugo Lloris, this is what is 12 years, 11 years. Eric Dyer and Davis, this is their 10th year. Lamella had 8, 9 years. Who else we're talking about? Lucas Moura was here for about 5 years, 6 years. You know, Sissoko was here for 4 or 5. Like, we just seem to stockpile these players, Alan, for fun. Like, for fun.
I mean, the list you just put, let's just go club by club in the top half of the table last year. And let's just, if we believe these people would still be at this club for the amount of time that they've been at Spurs. Man City, not a chance. Arsenal, not a chance. Liverpool, not a chance. Newcastle, not a chance. Man United, not a chance. Aston Villa, more than likely not. Brentford, absolutely not, probably not. Brighton, absolutely not. With the way they play football, none of these players would fit. And who's the other team in the top 10 last season? Who finished 10th? I can't remember. But none of these teams in the top 10 would have these players at their club for that long. And like, I just don't get how badly we are run. It makes no sense. People put in the comments earlier on that it's like they get comfortable here and all like the luxuries of Spurs in regards to the hotels and all the fluffy pillows and whatever BS they come out with and why Spurs are great to be at. And I can't stand the way we run as a football club. Every single, and this is why people putting in the chat, are you going to the game tomorrow? No, until things drastically change on the footballing side, I will not be going to another Spurs game.
I can't wait for tomorrow, mate. Can't wait for tomorrow.
I'm
so excited. I am so excited. When I go to bed, I'm not going to sleep tonight. It's my first game back to season ticket. It's going to be superb.
No, but Alan, Alan, I take your point. Look, it's so difficult, right? Because most of my theory in life is I don't want to look over in someone else's garden, see what they're doing. I'm in control of my own, right? But I don't feel that applies to football. When I'm looking at football, I'm looking at look at Arteta and Edu. When Arteta and Edu started running that football club, look at all the players that went, the deadwood that had been there for years. Aubameyang, Mesut Ozil. By the way, players who are better than some of the deadwood we're trying to get rid of. Mesut Ozil, Aubameyang, the Kolasinacs, the Mustafis. You know, you can go on and on and on. And now you look at their team from now to 3 years ago, right? And I think the only one, maybe two that have survived would be Bukayo Saka, who was obviously through the youth team. And then if you look at the rest of the team, Kieran Tierney, did he come in 3 years ago? Other than that, the whole thing is new. It's all been churned. The churn. We just keep doing the same thing every window. And the thing is, guys, you know what's disheartening for me? I know that we're going to get to next summer and we're going to play exactly the same game with Ndombele because this time next year, Ndombele, Lo Celso, etc., Sessegnon, they're all going to have 1 year, and we'll all be going, surely they're going to be shipped out. It's just madness. It's madness.
Like I said, I've got to the point now with some of these players who are here for the last year, who stuff like that, just tear out their contracts, kick them out. I would. It's just like, when you're an adult and you go like, oh well, you got to go out and live your life and live on your own and grow up an adult, and it's like we're trying to get them out of the door, and they're like, but we don't want to leave, and we're like trying to go, no, you got to go live your life.
Yeah. Mummy and daddy don't want you living here anymore. Go and do your thing.
They just don't go anywhere. I hate
Sean. Let's talk Hugo Lloris then, because the reports, if I say that one more time this summer, the reports are that for the last 24, 48 hours has all been about Hugo Lloris going to join Lazio on a 2-year deal. He's 37 in December. I don't know that off the top of my head. I did just Wikipedia it. He's 37 in December. Now we're hearing that he's going to turn it down because he can't be guaranteed the number 1 spot at Lazio.
Yeah.
Now, I mean,
there's more than just that, right? Sarri, the manager, and this was out this morning. Sarri doesn't want him because he thinks that he's going to disrupt him. His inaccessibility to the first team is going to disrupt the actual first team goalkeeper, whose name I forget.
I'm just checking their squad, by the way. That's just what I'm doing. So their number 1 must be. Oh my God, they've got 5 keepers, and I don't think.
Read them out, and the name will.
So you've got Marius Adamonis, Alessio Fulanetto, Federico Magro, Ivan Provedel, and David Renzetti.
Oh, you know what? None of them ring a bell. So
I'll tell you what. Shall I have a look at their last game and see who played? Would that be easier?
The point I was going to make was so Sarri was like, I don't want him, but the president of Lazio was like, nah, this guy, bring him in. He's going to bring leadership, management, kind of like experience, all that stuff. I spoke about it this morning. I was like, if the manager doesn't want him, and he's not going to get paid his $100,000 a week, which is a sticking point, he's going to get half of that. Appreciate that, Flying Solo. I haven't read the rest of it. Just read the first 3 words.
As soon as I saw Sean spot on, I just moved it.
I was like, that'll do for me. Don't need to know what else he's saying. I'll just take it. Thank you very much. Pat on the back stuff.
Everybody, let's take a minute of silence to listen to Sean.
Well, what else has he said? Surely some of those unwanted players have ambitions to play at the World Cup. Won't happen for them if they're categorically told stay and you're not getting. Well, yeah, okay. So that's. I don't want to be like. I don't want to come across like I'm like militant. But ultimately, you do have that power to say, if you stay and you don't go elsewhere because you're comfortable here, we can make it uncomfortable for you here. That's the kind of rhetoric I'm referring to. As far as Lloris goes, similar sort of thing. He was like, oh, apparently this morning he said, or in an article I read this morning, he said he's willing to take a pay cut. But now you're telling me that now Lazio are saying we still want you, but he's saying not if I come in as second best.
Listen, again, only what I've read tonight that it's breaking down because of that. I mean, can you at the age
where's he going to go where he's guaranteed first team football?
Exactly my point. When you are 36, going on 37, where do you go to be guaranteed the number 1 spot? I'm going to suggest somewhere, Alan. Saudi Arabia?
I was literally just going to say Saudi Arabia. Yeah. But then nobody there is coming in for him. Maybe.
Yeah, but that's where his agent needs to earn his corn, right? Exactly. Go and start selling.
maybe a place like Greece, Turkey, maybe places like that, obviously. But the French league, I don't even think he'll get number 1 in the French league for a team that will afford him or pay his wage.
But if it's about money, he should go. There'll be a club in Saudi Arabia. If it's not about money, if it's about prestige, then there'll be a club somewhere that will give him a crack. Not in the Premier League.
A World Cup. Just go for the money. There you go. Just get him out. He's got the World Cup. There you go. He just doesn't need to go.
What is his motivation at this stage of his career? If he's turned down Saudi Arabia, then it can't be about money. So if it's not about money, then it must be about trying to do something else with your career. But unfortunately, bro, like you're never going to leave here and be first choice in a club that's got a higher propensity to win a trophy unless the trophy is of a lesser level. Maybe go back to home, go to France. But I can't see him getting into any of the top 6 or 7 leagues where he's going to win a trophy. So, shake hands with reality, Hugo. Like, you're on the decline, bro. You're 37. Pick money or don't. But you're not going to win a trophy that's worthwhile winning at this age and this stage of your career.
Yeah, I mean, Alan, look, it is difficult, right? Listen, I just not often I don't want to stick up for Levy because I feel like these are problems created from his own hand. But also at the same time, if he is accepting bids for Sanchez, for Lloris, for these people, and they are just saying no. Like, for example, we all go, a bid's come in from Turkey for Davinson Sanchez. We don't know that Davinson Sanchez has any desire to go and live in Turkey. We can't make that decision for him as a human being, can we? Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, what's the next step? What needs to happen in this last... Look, there's 13 days. In an hour's time, there'll be 13 days of this window to go. And as Sean has said to me a few times, for all the outgoings and the incomings that need to happen, we're talking about one bit of business a day. If we're looking at 7 or 8 going and maybe 3 or 4 coming in, which is looking very unlikely, that's one bit of business a day on average.
Yeah. And Ange Postecoglou said last Friday on his embargoed press conference, he said, I'd love to bring new players in, but we can't until we move players out. We're going to get rid of what we can, and then we're going to see where we're at. That was 6 days ago. And we've had nothing. We've had nothing. I don't know. What are we doing here, boys?
We've got nothing left. No, oh my God, it's just... Look, we can't tell these players where to go, but I mean, why is it everyone else can get rid of their deadwood to leagues that are lower or teams that are lower? It seems to be anything to do with Spurs. I don't understand if it's because we've allowed them to get comfortable for long periods of times with money and all that and just be able to knock around why people aren't going. But all these other teams can put players into the Saudi league or French or Italian or Spain.
Yeah.
It just seems absolutely nobody, like every time we accept a bid, nobody wants to bid for these players because they're not good enough. And as soon as we accept a bid, they go, no, I'd rather stay here, thanks, or I'm not guaranteed this and that. Why? And this is why I'm saying, look, just be ruthless. Start tearing up contracts. The last year, tear it all up and just go goodbye and get them to go where. We done it with Doherty, didn't we? Well, we were forced because...
I mean, we did it with Doherty because someone can't count to 8. Do you know what I mean? Like,
didn't Arsenal tear up some contracts as well and get people out? Like, I swear they did. I can't remember who.
Did Arsenal tear up Mesut Ozil's contract of about 350 grand a week?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Am I right in saying that?
I thought it was somebody. I didn't know if it was him, but I know they've done it with people.
Aubameyang, they did it with Aubameyang, didn't they? They tore up his contract.
So I just do it. I just, if that's the only way we can clear some of these people out, and then it might make some of the people on 2-year contracts go, oh, hold on, they're just going to tear up my contract. You know, it might make them go, well, it looks like all of our players got nudes on Levy because no one will go out that door. Seriously, mate, the only one that didn't get the memo was Winks because he went. But it's just, maybe we need to start doing that, and people on 2-year contracts will be like, okay, I'll need, if an offer comes in, I need to look at it seriously because... I just can't believe it's just, I'm fed up. I really am, because when you look at the people we have to bring in to think like, we can't really do any more business, can we, until we get rid of players? Is that how it works? We were on 38.
What I don't understand about that, let's talk about that before we do. Lots of people saying that Davinson Sanchez signed a new 6-year deal in 2018. So that's why. So basically,
one year after he signed, 1 year later, we got him a new contract.
Is that the whole Maurizio Pochettino like pictures of everyone when he was doing that?
I mean, this is the thing. Hang on.
What are we doing?
Yeah,
what have we done?
Well, what have we done? We're doing it again. All of the old lines, but this is the thing. Do you remember, guys, that there was that little period of when Poch was here. I'm not blaming Poch, by the way, but there was this period when Poch was here, and I think everyone got given bumper new contracts.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then this summer, our fans going, oh my God, Poch should have come back to Spurs. And I put in one of the groups earlier. I don't know. I think it was with you two. You're looking at all of these signings Chelsea are making and you're thinking, I wonder why Pochettino wouldn't have wanted to come back to Tottenham Hotspur if you look at like the backing he's getting somewhere else. But listen, you make a great point, Alan, as to what you just said. And I can't remember what it was. And I want to talk about it. I'm being honest.
That's amazing.
Sorry.
Clip that.
The amount of players we've got in the squad, how many to get out, but do we have to sell before we can?
Yes. Right. So this is sorry. Going off on a tangent. Sorry. So this is the thing, right? I don't want to make this about Harry Kane. At the same time, I'm very much going to make it about Harry Kane. When these press conferences we're hearing now saying we need players to go out before we can get players in because our squad is too bloated. Hang on. We've just sold our best player, got 100 million for him, freed up. What was Harry on? 220K a week?
Yeah.
Right. So listen, I know this is probably real basic fan breakdown of the finances, but doesn't that tell me that there's one squad space that Kane had, right? That there's 220 odd grand extra a week in salaries and that there's 100 million there that can be spent. Why do we have to sell before we can bring in a forward? What I don't understand. Why?
I don't think we have to. I think it's just a case of if you bring someone else in, then it just adds to the list of players that have to go. I don't think it's a case of like financially it has to happen that way. I think it's just a case of squad spaces. It has to happen that way. Or it doesn't have to happen, but they're choosing to do it that way. Chelsea do it a different way. Listen, I've got no idea how Chelsea can turn over the amount of players that they can, and Tottenham can't do the same. It can't purely be down to the quality and the interest in the players. It also must be like there must be a bottleneck that exists at Tottenham that doesn't exist at Chelsea. They must have 4 or 5 people that are trusted with the ability to write a signature. You know, that can. I don't know. Like Chelsea are doing things that no other club has ever done. Their frequency of turnover, the speed of negotiations, and it's we can look at them and go, why can't Tottenham do that? But I'm pretty sure, Savva, you spend a lot of time on top 6 channels. I'm pretty sure you must see. I mean, I do when I go on them. Liverpool fans saying the same thing. United fans saying the same thing. You know, United are waiting for Amrabat. They've been waiting for 7 weeks. Found out today the only reason Amrabat hasn't signed for them is because United haven't found a home for McTominay or whoever their other player is. They're trying to make room in the
Van der Beek.
Van der Beek. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah. So like, you know, there's bottlenecks at all clubs. Chelsea just seem to have come in and just like torn up the rule book, torn up the script on how it is that, you know, clubs operate. And it's fascinating to watch, and it's frustrating that we're not enjoying the benefits of that. But yeah, Chelsea fans must absolutely love it.
But I mean, look, Sean is right, Alan, isn't he? I remembered what he said this time, so it's all good. Sean's right. Like, we can all get annoyed at Chelsea or whatever, but when you look at it, it's not just that they seem to find homes for all these players. It's the speed in which the deals seem to turn around. I'm sure it isn't, but it seems to be that somebody's linked with Chelsea Friday the 18th, i.e. right now at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. By Sunday night, we're all going, oh, here we go from Fabrizio Romano. When Spurs are interested in a player, it feels like it's, you know, Spurs have registered their interests. Oh, hang on, we're here on the last day of the window. Will they, won't they turn up in the building? Have they just got a brilliant network of people around the world sorting this out for them? Like, does their chief scout or head of recruitment deserve the world's biggest bonus for being the busiest person ever? What's going on?
I'll tell you what it is just basically when you are at the top of like world football in regards to Chelsea and the way they do business, they're buying big, so they have to sell and get and sell quick. So people come in for Havertz 60 million, Mount 6 million. Thank you very much, Dundle, and then they're reinvested straight away. With Spurs, we do it at snail pace because we go, oh, we're fond of this person, we're interested, we appreciate this person all the time, and all that. We're selling nobody. 3 weeks later, we finally get a deal over the line, and then literally we go, now who do we need to sell, if anyone? We are that awful. Like I said,
one at a time FC, right? It's always one at a time FC.
It's off the pitch.
Mad.
They get things sorted as quick as they possibly can because it's like new sponsorship this, the F1 that, boxing, gigs, this and the other, because it's going to come into the club. As soon as it's to do with players and the football inside, it seems that they're like...
Alan, how many of those have you seen in the last 3 months? In the last 3 months or since the summer, how many different partnerships have Spurs announced? I think it was the formal dress wear, the bags. Today you had.
I don't think any, but none of that has anything to do with Daniel Levy, right? Like that's the American geezer who's part of the. You know what I mean? Like that guy, the guy who's in charge of commercial sponsorships. I don't know if we should. I see it all the time. I see people screenshotting it and forwarding it, saying, like nothing's happened with regards to replacing Harry Kane, but today we're sponsoring, dog food by whoever, by Pedigree Chum. The Pedigree Chum is the dog food sponsor of Tottenham Hotspur. I get it all as like
it's
embarrassing,
optics, right?
I do get it.
It's optics.
But the argument that we're focusing, or that there is someone that should be focusing on finding Sessegnon a new home, that instead is focusing on signing a deal with Pedigree Chum, that's fallacious. That's not happening. I get the optics argument.
I get it, right? Listen, I get it. But you know what? No one would care about any of that stuff, right? No one would care that we signed an agreement with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, whatever that was about. No one would care that we've signed a paint sponsor, and no one cares if we're doing what we need to do on the pitch. But the problem is the club are so proud to put all these sponsorships and everything out there.
They have to put them out there. They have to put them out there because
it's timing again, Sean. They're putting them out there. They're putting them out there in a time when Spurs fans are going, come on, where are these signings we need? Like that's what we want to be reading.
I completely agree with you. I understand the optics. I understand the optics argument, but the club have to put it out there. Do they have to celebrate them?
I agree.
But they are legally obliged to put them out there when the deal is signed, because it's
I think the reason why people make such a big deal of it is because all you hear now from a lot of people that are say like Enoch and Levy is the fact that we're run as a business, so we're self-sustaining, and they can do all that. But what the other people or people on the other side look at is that great business, right? But Spurs, Tottenham Hotspur have been and always will be a football club first. But that seems to be put to the back burner. We do everything else off the pitch, and look at this, we're doing that, and obviously, like you're saying, they have to advertise this. But then when it comes to,
but I'm saying, like, I'm pretty certain that Manchester United, who are also a stock exchange listed company, I'm pretty sure they will be also announcing every partnership that they sign. The second that they sign them, irrespective of the timing, because they're forced to by law. So I'm not sitting here defending the optics. I understand what it looks like, but in terms of do we want to die on the hill? When people like promote people that have their own, strong feelings against the ownership, I feel like they dilute the narrative when they kind of celebrate these moments as additional reasons to hate the ownership. In reality, the ownership are obliged to do it. That's what
I agree. I think what happens is, though, it's such a build-up of frustration over years.
Yeah,
I get
it. Listen, I've actually unsubscribed from my Tottenham Hotspur emails now, because in the last few, not because we've signed a sponsorship, but it was constant. There'd be things like, oh, Spurs can't get this player over the line because he's too expensive. And then within 3 hours, you've got an email going, hi, guys, who wants to come to the Skywalk for £15 or whatever? And you're like, hang on, I'm really angry about that centre-half we didn't sign, and you want me to now come and walk on a bit of roof. Like, I just don't think
I get it. Yeah.
I feel like they need
I think that if they've got a chief footballing officer that hasn't started work yet, they should get a chief optics officer in and figure out how to and that, I think that's Donna Maria Cullen, right? Well, Donna Maria Cullen is the chief PR, right? So, and that woman walking across, when we were day one of the tour in Australia, and her and Daniel Levy walked literally across and in front of the people, the boys training in the Wacker, the big cricket stadium. When I saw that, I was like, what are you doing? What are you? Like, you have absolutely no relevance. You are not important. You are not necessary here. I don't even think you should be here. But if you have to be here, stay out of the fucking way. Stay out of the way. Don't need you on any of these clips. You don't like. You are doing yourself a disservice. So once again, like, my point is, I think that there should be some sort of person that's like paying attention to the optics of the football club and having a little bit more sensitivity training, you know?
Absolutely. Just quickly before we go on, this will be the first time I've asked in 45 minutes. Smash the likes, people. There's 615 of you in here, which is crazy. It means lots of people are choosing not to go and drink tonight, which is good for your livers. Or maybe you're at home drinking. Maybe you don't drink. Who knows? Maybe I'm waffling. But there's 203 likes, 615 of you in here. That's only a third. And also, if anybody hasn't, please do subscribe. We now are only 54 subscribers away from the 10K. I don't think we're going to hit it tonight, but I'd love to hit it during the game tomorrow with Manchester United. And a super chat from Blaine Dev. Thank you very much. Always a big supporter of the channel. That said, Savva, here's the taxi fare. Can you round up Hugo, Dyer, Tungai, and Davis and drop them at Stansted? Big up, lads. 3-1 Spurs tomorrow. Blaine Dev, thank you very much. You know, the problem
Great guy, Blaine Dev. Awesome guy.
I could drop them at Stansted, and the moment they got out of the car, they would all do a runner and find their way back to Hotspur Way. You just know it, mate. It's just, they're never leaving. And one of the telltale signs was, I don't know if any of you remember this, and thank you, Blaine Dev. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you to, we've had 5 new channel members throughout the day today. So big up to all of those. And thank you for all the super chats and the subscribers. It really is appreciated. What was I saying? Yeah, we've, why does my mind keep going? Why does my brain keep switching off? What was I talking about?
It's 11 o'clock.
Ben Davies. What is going on with me? Ben Davies
on Friday night. It's not dementia. It's just late.
Ben Davies in the All or Nothing documentary. Does anyone remember his famous line from that documentary?
No.
When they were all sitting around in the canteen watching Sky Sports News during the transfer window, and Ben Davies said, "Oh, why do fans always want to see new players?" You're like, Ben, because we have to watch you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it just made me think they don't get it. But look, moving on, guys, moving on. I want to bring up this report. I'm not sure if either of you two have seen this, or heard of this guy or whatever, but this is doing the rounds in the last 24 hours. I do like the superlatives that they throw at these players. I'm gonna make this a bit larger so people can see. Excuse whatever they're trying to sell to me down the bottom there, something about Lionsgate and Outlander, but it's about Ernest Numa, who plays for Nordsjælland, I believe it's pronounced Nordsjælland, in the Danish Premier League. Apparently this is the next wonder kid. He won the Danish Player of the Year last year. 19-year-old Ghanaian striker. He's got 5 in 4 games already this year. He got 17 in all competitions last year. This seems to be the next player. I'm going to ask it. I think I know the answer. Any of you know him? Is this just now getting to the stage where we are linked with any footballer with a pulse?
Next. I don't know anything about him. It's as simple as that. I don't know. Yeah, I've never heard of him.
I mean, so somebody, Sean, came in my chat earlier and said, this is a B-Tech. I love when this is a B-Tech Gift Orban. I mean, that's funny, right? Because Gift Orban's only a kid himself. Yeah. And they said to me, this sums it up. We couldn't get the kid, so we've gone for the kid that's going to be the next kid.
Like, by the way, Gift Orban is the next Osimhen, who is only about 22, 23 himself. Isn't Osimhen isn't Osimhen 23?
I can have a look for you, mate. Victor Osimhen is, oh no, he's really old, mate.
Is he?
He's nearly 25. He's old in football terms. He's nearly 25.
So we got so Gift Orban is the next Victor Osimhen, and this fella is the next Victor. Okay, listen, I got no idea. Well, I also have no idea about for what it's worth. I don't know that guy's never heard of him. I haven't looked him up. I'm not even going to waste my time. But someone in your chat, well said, Sean Madzi. We need to keep Ndombele, otherwise all the donuts we spent half the budget on would go to waste. I don't know how that has any relevance or bearing on what I've ever said, but I've got to figure one out.
What time is that?
At 10:59. Like, figure that one out for me, Savva. What's going on?
10:59. So I'm so far behind. Let me quickly get to 10:59. Who said it?
Madzi. Well said, Sean. We need to keep him. I didn't say we need to keep him. I don't know what. Otherwise, all the donuts we spent half the budget on would go to waste. What on earth has that got to do with anything?
Madzi, are you saying that we need to keep Ndombele, otherwise he's been a complete waste of money?
I don't get it. I have no idea.
Did I not zone out with donuts? Did I zone out at some point? I don't know where this has come from.
I'm not sure what that means.
Love it.
What's going on?
Let us know. In the meantime, Blaine Dev, again, great guy. Has just become a channel member. So big up to Blaine Dev. Thank you so much. Channel member only shows every other week. Channel member only chats will take place regularly in the YouTube comment section, and channel members get their comments read out as a priority. I'll always try and get to them, but sometimes, these guys will let you know when there's hundreds of people in the chat. Sometimes the comments get missed. It's never on purpose, unless we see a comment we don't like, and it is on purpose. Make of that what you will. Look, lads, it's difficult, isn't it? Because on one hand, you've got our manager giving cryptic messages saying, that we don't need number 9. We've got goal scorers. We don't need number 9. And yet the whole fan base, I don't think I've seen anyone, well, a few actually, that most of the fan base sitting here going, we've got to buy a Gift Orban. We've got to buy a Osman. We've got to buy a Mwani.
If you had your choice right now, Sav, and you could only get one forward or one centre back, 40 million quid top budget. So you're not going to get like a top level of either. Would you get one defender or would you get one forward? And if so, who? If you only got one.
Sean, that's a horrible question.
But that might be where we're at, though.
No, I agree. Alan, you go, Alan.
For me, it's got to be centre back. I think. Look, if Van der Ven is the only defender that comes in, let's just say, obviously, God forbid, there's an injury there. We see it happen with Timber. If Van der Ven's the only defender we get in and he's out for 6-7 months, then we're back to Romero and who? Sanchez, Romero and Dyer. You need another defender in there, just to get away from the crap that would be what we've got to come in. So, yeah, for me, it's got to be defender. I think the attack, I think you can move things around enough in the attack, whether you put Sonny down the middle, bring Solomon on the left, whether you take Kula out, Poro on the right, the Doji, if you push him up there, if you get an injury or two. I think you've got enough of there. Celso looks like he might be...
More options up top, yeah.
More options up top where you can move things around, and I think you can get the goals still across the front line or like in the midfield. Defence, for me, is the way you need to put that 40 million.
I tell you what, these rumours flying around that I'm a barber now. I don't know what he's at. I don't know what is happening here.
No, you weren't a pro barber. You were a poor Turkish barber. You were a bad Turkish barber.
And Alan, who's got the biggest glass of Coke I think I've ever seen in my life, if that is Coca-Cola.
Yeah, that glass that you drink from is an absolute flag in there. I love it.
And it looks
might be a little something in there.
I see. I know what you mean. I understand. Yesterday, Alan, basically someone said Savva looks like a bad barber. And it's like, why
a bad Turkish barber, wasn't it?
A bad Turkish barber.
Yeah.
Why can't I just be a barber? Why do I have to be a bad barber? Like, what am I not good at?
Barber. Why are we going?
Because I'm Greek. Is that why? Because I'm half Greek. They're calling me Turkish. You haven't. Wow. Look, Sean, I'm going to go slightly different to Alan on this one. I would put it down on someone like a Gift Orban. And the reason I would do that is I think that if you can look, lots of ifs. I think we're playing once a week, right? We're playing once a week. A few cup games in between. We're playing once a week right the way in through to January. If you can keep Romero and Van der Ven fit once a week, I think that's fine. That's fine. I'm quite happy for the odd game for Sanchez or Dyer to come in for the odd game. Up front, though, I still think it needs that spark. I'm not talking about an
What's the point of having 75% possession unless you can turn it over, correct?
Right. But my caveat to that, because I like a caveat, right?
Context.
I like some context, Sean. Yes, I do. Football context TV. Right. I would say that you then have to get another centre half in January. I would say you then have to get another centre half in January. But the risk to that is if Romero or Van der Ven or both should be out at any one time, you're left playing Dyer and Sanchez in a really high line. And that doesn't bear thinking about.
But you can make the same argument at the top end, right? If
sure.
Richarlison goes down injured and we don't have anyone else coming in, then we're left with Sonny, Decky, and Solomon.
But then you could have people would argue that you'd have Porro on the right, the Doji on the left.
Porro's never played a minute in an advanced position in a Postecoglou system, not a minute. Even against Barcelona when they took off Perisic. Oh, Perisic should be there. Sorry, correct. They took off Perisic and they put Solomon on the left. They brought on Jed Spence and put him up the top. Why didn't Porro get 10 minutes at the top?
Well, no, this is what I'm saying. But people are saying that he's more built for that position. So there's the option there. Odoji, people say could do the left. So there's an option there. Lo Celso on the
I see what you're saying. Yeah, there is if needs must options. Yeah.
So Lo Celso, people have even said can do on the right as well. I don't know. I don't believe that. But apparently people said he could do that. So there's options. You can move things around. Whereas defense, if you take away AJ, put a comment in there, he'd promote Phillips. But throwing him at the deep end with next to a Sanchez or a Dyer, I think can only I don't want to take away from Phillips. I don't want to knock his confidence because he's put next to somebody who can't.
Alan, what about just a crazy idea? What if Phillips was thrown in and turned out to be brilliant? What if it was the making of Ashley Phillips? Surely this guy. Listen. I'm not saying that Ashley Phillips should be our number one centre half by any stretch of the imagination, but he's highly rated. The Blackburn fans. I actually watched a Blackburn fan who has a YouTube channel. Right, he lives abroad, but he's got a YouTube channel. Lost his mind. I'll send you the clip, guys. Lost his mind that they let Ashley Phillips go for whatever it was, 3 million or whatever it was worth, saying that he's the best thing that's come out of their academy for 15, 20 years. How can they do this to the club? I don't know, right? But could he be any worse than putting in Eric Dyer or Ben Davies as centre half?
Yeah. Yes, he could.
Could he? Why?
Because Eric Dyer is not as we're dressing up Eric Dyer as poison.
Yeah.
Come on. I wouldn't say poison, just shit.
He's not he had a really bad season last year. He had a terrible season last year. The season before, I mean, I'm not going to listen. If we want to have a debate about it, I don't really want to die on the hill of defending Eric Dyer. I want him gone.
No, let's do it.
Everyone else does.
Sean's going to defend Eric Dyer, everyone.
Right.
No, I'm just saying, the season before, he was an ever-present in the team that finished fourth. Don't do that. Don't do that. He was never present in the team that finished fourth. And I think that, I think that just he's on a massive confidence dip. He's out of his element, and I think that everything's gone against him. I'm not sitting here saying that I want him in the team or anything like that, but I'm sitting there saying, relative to a guy that's played 8 games at championship level, come on.
Well, you can argue that season that he was really good, or got the thing he got his England call up and he was like, I can rest now, and then he went back to what he was before he started playing well for his England call up. Look, his best seasons.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, Alan, one second. Sue Smith. Okay. Oh, come on, Dyer is dreadful. Are you actually... Sue, listen, I love you to pieces. Are you actually sitting there saying, oh, come on, Dyer is dreadful, therefore an 18-year-old who's played 8 games, never started for Blackburn Rovers in the Championship, are you actually saying, oh, come on, Dyer is dreadful? By that, you're saying start Ashley Phillips ahead of him. If that's what you're saying, Sue, then you're You need to clarify, because I don't know where we're going with this. I don't know what we're doing here.
I love this. Sean Butler, secret Eric Dyer fan. I love this. Tomorrow, Sean, when you wake up and you've seen that I've clipped a video of you.
I'm walking down the high road at 2:00 tomorrow afternoon, right down through. I'm going to go through the Leave It Out protest, where I'm going to be ducking tomatoes being thrown at me. And I'm going to be walking straight on the other side. I'm walking past the ticket price protest. I'm going to be going, I love Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer loves me.
Guys, Blame Dev, I will get to this in a second. I just need to hear a bit more about Eric Dyer. But look, Sean, all I'm saying is sometimes people thrown in at the deep end can work. What I'm saying is, listen, sometimes it could. Listen, Ashley Phillips, they bought him for a reason. At what stage does he get introduced to the first team? Are we seriously saying that we've bought this guy and he's going to be behind Romero, Van der Ven, Sanchez, Dyer, and Davis for centre half? He's behind all five of those.
This year probably. But I do take the point, and I made this point a couple of weeks ago, that if Tottenham were to go and sign Tapsoba, who's 23, now that you sign Van der Ven, who's 23, and you've got Romero, who's 24, and I do think I think there's a point to be made around where does the access come for the next generation? Where does Alfie Dorrington get a shot? Where does Ashley Phillips get a shot? So I take the point that if you constantly buy top tier 23-year-olds, then the guys that are coming through are never going to get a chance. So I definitely take the point. That's why I was more in favour of Tottenham going out and getting like an Aymeric Laporte, who could come in, steady the ship right now, be 31, whatever, do a couple of years, then move on. And by that point, one of these guys is going to be ready to come through. But that didn't happen. I'm just saying, Eric Dyer versus Ashley Phillips. If you're asking me tomorrow morning, if I find out that Romero and Sanchez are injured and you've given me a choice out of Ashley Phillips or Eric Dyer against who was it going to be? It will be Rashford, Garnacho, and Anthony. I'm probably choosing Eric Dyer against the guy who's been against Ashley Phillips. And if you're saying Ashley Phillips, then I think that we've got a problem. Come on.
Jacob, just so you know, so Sean has just said that he would start Eric Dyer over Christian Romero tomorrow against Man United.
He said he's going to die on that Eric Dyer hill. That's what he said. He
said he's going to die on that Eric Dyer hill.
Hang on a minute. People in the comments are actually getting on board with the opposite argument. Well, welcome, Jacob. I got to shout this. Can you put a poll out, please?
What have I walked into?
Can you put a poll out?
Okay, I could do it.
If Romero and Van der Ven go down tomorrow, injured tomorrow morning, who do you choose? Do you choose Ashley Phillips or Eric Dyer to step up and play alongside Sanchez? Can someone please tell me that not everyone's not going to give it to Ashley Phillips?
If I was manager and I had that scenario and Dyer was the only one on the bench, I'd rather pick anyone out of the stand to fill in at centre back than put Eric Dyer at centre back.
Oh, shut up, mate! What are you talking about? You absolute melon!
Hang on.
What are you talking about?
Hang on.
Come on.
It's there, right? The poll is up, and the question is this simple: if you had to start one, who would it be, Dyer or Phillips? There's no other option. You have to start one of them, Dyer or Phillips. Jacob, welcome to you, my friend. How are you?
I'm great. Had a very interesting stream earlier myself. Very heated. Not about Eric Dyer though. Only about Son and captaincy and all that.
Oh no, not all that stuff. No, I've got no time for the Son debate tonight.
It was supposed to be a United preview, and it turned into why the hell is Son our captain? And it was interesting to say the least.
By the way, that reminds me, guys and girls, join me tomorrow at 11 a.m. for my Tottenham United preview, where I will be on with Irish Hotspur David. We'll be on together to talk about the game. Then I'm going to a barbecue, and then I'll be back at 4:30. You didn't need to know I was going to a barbecue, but after I'm coming back from the barbecue, just showing my commitment. And at 4:30, we will start the Spurs versus Manchester United watch along. Jacob, let me come to you. So basically,
I can't even. Sorry,
listen.
one second. I'm getting brutalizing your chat for saying, I'm not saying that Phillips is not the future. He is. But tomorrow morning, you'd rather put Ashley Phillips in as centre-back. I'm getting told Sean has lost his marbles. BB is saying I've lost my marbles. What are we doing here? Listen, I don't know if I can respect your chat anymore, Savva. Sort this out, mate. What's going on?
Hang on, just like let me bring in Jacob, and we've got a flurry of people. Right, there's now 700 people in the chat, 274 likes. Let's get that to 400 likes ASAP. And if 49 of the 700 people in here go over and subscribe right now, we can hit the 10K live on a Friday night. 10K, people. And big up to Jacob, who I think I saw a message earlier saying you woke up to smashing the 2K subscribers. Is that right?
Absolutely. Thanks to the help of these three individuals, as well as Dave, Irish Hotspur, as well as countless other content creators. So thank you for that.
Big up. So the link is in the chat. There is, as I said, there's 700. All it needs is 49 of you to go over and smash that subscribe button. That's less than, my maths is terrible. That's less than a tenth. That's less than an 11th of you. So please do that. Right. Let's get back into absolutely ruining Sean. So basically,
wait. I got to check it. I got to check out in real time. What's the poll looking like?
Right. The poll is saying at the moment 163 votes.
Oh my God.
84% would rather see Ashley Phillips than Eric Dyer.
I got no respect for this. I got no respect. Ashley Phillips, he's never played he's played about 75 minutes in championship level football. What are you doing? What are we doing here? Listen.
It is what it is. Thank you for the 3 people that have subscribed. We're now only 46 away from the 10K. Don't get my hopes up, people. Don't get my hopes up. Let me finally get to Jacob. Jacob, the question was, right, if Eric Dyer, sorry, no, it wasn't. It was if you woke up tomorrow morning and the choice to play with one of our centre-backs due to injuries had to be either Eric Dyer or 18-year-old Ashley Phillips, who's played 7 league games, I believe, for Blackburn Rovers in the Championship.
Never, I don't think he's ever started one, by the way.
No, he has. He has. Hang on. Okay, we're going to bring this up. Sorry, we will get there, Jacob.
No worries. This is entertaining.
It shouldn't affect the answer anyway. Go on, carry on with the story.
Listen, Sean, just relax. Listen, we've all been in some mud. It's time. It's your time. Just don't worry, right?
There's no mud here. There's no mud.
Right.
As soon as you said mud, he got wide-eyed.
Here we go. Right. So here is Ashley Phillips, right, who has clearly played 8 championship games for Blackburn Rovers.
No, wait a minute. I'm getting up his real stats. I'm getting up his deep stats.
Sean, he has. Look.
No, Sean, he's played 8 games. I'm getting up his real stats. How many minutes has he played at championship level? Let's find out.
8 games. That's all that matters. 14 appearances. For me, that makes him 14 games better than Eric Dyer is as a footballer.
Your panel, your audience right now, is
amazing.
It's being exposed.
Jacob, who are you picking?
I don't know what's going on here.
Jacob, without the stats, without the minutes, without anything, I'll do you one better.
Anything.
I even take Dorrington over Eric Dyer, and he ain't played 1 fucking minute on any. I'll take Dorrington. So I'm just saying, for me, Eric Dyer, no way. Seen plenty, seen more than enough. Dorrington. I'm taking Dorrington. Or even Phillips. Give me anybody over Dyer.
Do you actually mean that? Joking aside, do you actually
No, I actually mean that for my mental health. But I personally have a problem against Eric Dyer, not just professionally.
Then I have lost. I don't know. You're a fun guy, but your ball knowledge all of a sudden goes from high to not to zero. If you actually think that Dorrington is ready to face Manchester United tomorrow,
the question wasn't is Dorrington ready to face Manchester. The question wasn't is he ready to play. The question is who would you rather? And if I have the choice,
the question was if there has to be one of them playing tomorrow alongside one of the others, right? Who do you pick, Eric Dyer or Ashley Phillips? And you went neither, You know what? Of course, it's Ashley Phillips, but so much so that even if it was Dorrington, I'd pick Dorrington. You know, on that, if you actually mean that, then it's insane, mate.
I mean it as solely from a football fan perspective. From a football fan perspective, that's how I feel about it.
The question was, like, if you're Tottenham Hotspur manager, what do you do?
Ashley Phillips.
Alfie Dorrington or Ashley Phillips over Eric Dyer.
Wasn't there a scenario
in the comment section that is agreeing with that? If you're sincere, you're bonkers. You have drunk more today than I have, and that's a rare.
What? Go on.
3 years ago under Mourinho, where Tanganga came out of nowhere, started his first game for Spurs, and had man of the match performance against Liverpool. Does happen.
Well, I've got a question.
Come on, Ashley.
I've got a question. What could Ashley Phillips? What could Ashley Phillips do that is so bad that we've not seen Eric Dyer do that bad thing?
Stop it, mate. Are you not? You can't. Listen, I'm not even buying this nonsense anymore.
I'm asking a question.
Believe Ashley Phillips is ready to play against Rashford tomorrow.
But I think Eric Dyer. Hang on.
He has no
I think Eric Dyer is a championship defender masquerading as a Premier League footballer.
But if he was playing the championship, would he play 35 games?
Who?
Eric Dyer. Would he play 42 games? Actually, would he play 42?
Yeah, he
games?
was. But Ashley Phillips only just turned 18, hasn't he?
Ashley Phillips has played the grand total. I've got it
14 games. 14 games, Sean.
I've got the grand total of how many minutes he played last season.
Go on.
Where is it? He played 2,500 minutes over the last 365. No. Sorry. 2,500 minutes. Not against Blackburn, not for Blackburn Rovers. For England's under 18 against Australia, against Norway, against Iceland. He got subbed off against Iceland when Iceland beat us 1-0 for England under 18. Like, this guy is not ready for the Premier League.
Why I last playing for England?
He played for England under 21s. He played for England full into that. What are we doing here? You're winding me up. You guys are winding me up. You must be winding me up. The entire comment section is winding me up. Is this one giant wind-up?
No. Sean, let me ask you a question. How do you know he's not ready for the Premier League? How do you know?
I don't know. The fact that he wasn't ready for Blackburn Rovers is. No.
But that's not the question, right? The question is, who would you prefer, not who is ready. I think Eric Dyer's ineffectiveness as a footballer outweighs Ashley Phillips' readiness to play.
It's so unbelievably disrespectful to Eric Dyer.
He's terrible, Sean. He's a terrible player. He's terrible.
This is me being honest.
He's been there. He had a terrible last season.
He's had a terrible decade.
He made it into the England squad more times.
So does Maguire.
The last 2 or 3 years. Okay, so why didn't Ashley Phillips make it into the full England squad then?
Oh, come on. Are we really doing this?
No. I'm trying to justify your levels game.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Your love for Dyer, that's what you're trying to
Let me ask you a question.
I can't believe we're doing this. I can't believe this is taking up more than 5
The deeper
seconds.
we go, the more tilted Sean's camera gets. The angles. It's not like
the stadium tomorrow for this. You really are.
In a minute, he's going to be smashing up those guitars, isn't he, in the background? Look, let me ask you a question, everyone. Do any of you remember a certain 18-year-old being bought from MK Dons for 5 million and then came into the first team and smashed it up? I'm just saying. Why could he not? How do you know he might not come in and we all go, wow, where's this kid been hiding?
Against Rashford, against Anthony, against Garnacho, against Ericsson, against Fernandez, against Mason Mount, you would rather put in him than Eric Dyer. I'm not saying I'm not making the statement that Eric Dyer is going to save us the game, but you're making the statement that Ashley Phillips is ready more than Eric Dyer is. I don't listen. I am in.
No one said that.
I feel like I've dialed into a weird alternate universe here. I don't know what's going on. It must be a wind-up. This must be a wind-up.
Sean, the thing is, no one said he's necessarily ready. We're just so bored of seeing that calamity Eric Dyer play.
And also,
isn't that fair?
Also, in the high line as well, there's no way I'm taking Eric Dyer out high line.
Yeah, sorry, people in your comments. Tottenham 1963. Shut up, Sean. You're digging yourself a great big hole.
The last time we saw Eric Dyer,
there's beers. He put some beers in there.
And all the time he was caught out of position. Eric Dyer in the high line is not good at all.
I agree. And so far, of the 224 votes, only 16% of them agree with Sean.
And you know what? I've lost all faith. Eric Dyer, tomorrow morning, you'd rather see Ashley Phillips ahead of Eric Dyer.
Yes.
I've lost all faith in humanity, if that's the
Sean,
case.
how many times do you...
Ashley Phillips good enough? What are you basing it on? Give me one.
Sean, I think you're missing the point.
Give me one thing other than you don't think Eric Dyer is very good to justify Ashley Phillips coming in.
That's the answer. No one wants to see Eric Dyer play.
Better than that. So you'd rather have me come in?
No, because you've
never seen Ashley play, have you?
But hang on. But Sean, you're not a professional footballer on the books of Tottenham Hotspur.
But you'd rather have Dorrington come in. You'd rather have anyone from
Phillips,
the under-18.
Not Dorrington, Phillips. Phillips has played...
You don't know the difference. You haven't seen him play.
One's played 8 man-of-the-match performances for Blackburn.
8 man-of-the-match performances?
I made that bit up. But he's played 8.
He said it so confidently.
I can't even.
I can't believe how much you're backing Dyer, though.
Like I'm going to get Ashton Kutcher coming in saying I've been punked in a minute.
Do you know what I wish we were allowed to do on YouTube? Right, I wish, like Twitch, where you're allowed to play videos. I wish I could bring some video footage on of Ashley Phillips. You watch him; he's tall, powerful, good on the ball, positionally very good. And then you get Eric Sean Butler Dyer, who should be playing centre back for Spurs in England. He should be captain at the Euros, according to Sean.
Was it last season? Literally, the ball got kicked up to him, and no one was on him, and he could have just punted out the pitch, and he kind of sliced it behind for a corner that went 40 yards behind him.
And then we conceded.
Goal because of it, the following corner, the resulting corner because of his. And there was no pressure on him. He just does it time and time again. Calamitous errors time and time again. Caught out of position. I remember going on the stream. This is going back 3 or 4. Who was it with? I can't remember. Man United fans. We just lost to them at home, and they were showing stills of the game and all that. And every single one where they were attacking us, Eric Dyer was in front of the ball as a defender, out of position, and literally it was like he was looking for somebody that he had lost years ago or something like that he had no clue where the ball was. And I'm just like, I've seen it for years with Eric Dyer. There is better at this club than Eric Dyer. If I'm putting a partner with Van de Ven or Romero, if one of them gets injured, the last person I come to is Eric Dyer as a defender in a high line.
The last person from the first team?
Including Phillips.
Shut up, mate. What on earth are we doing here? I can't even handle this. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to be a part of a stream that promotes this opinion. The guy hasn't kicked the ball at the top level.
Scored a goal in his first training session. Savva, you're muted.
Are you actually it?
I made such a good point as well, Jake.
I can't even tell the difference between a joke, wind-up, and sincerity anymore.
Sean, we have seen. Listen, somebody just put a great point in saying, wouldn't you rather see Phillips learn and make a few mistakes along the way than watch Eric Dyer again for the 10th season?
Yeah.
Oh my. So that's what we're doing now. We lose out on Romero or Van de Ven, and we go, well, what should we pick? Should we pick a guy that we know isn't very good, but he's got mistakes in him, but ultimately he's been around the first team at Tottenham for 10 years. He's been around the England team for the last decade. You know what? No, let's not do that. Let's roll the dice and let's give learning experience in a Premier League game against a guy who's never played in the Premier League, never played more than 20 minutes in any game for Blackburn Rovers.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Why? Because he's 6'4" and because he's I don't know. I hate Eric Dyer that much. You are delusional. I can't. Hang on. Be on the stream anymore. I'm embarrassed.
Sean, I'll be honest. For me, you've seen the film Men in Black.
I've got a cough.
You've seen the film Men in Black, Sean. When you choose between Eric Dyer and Ashley Phillips, is Eric Dyer's old and busted, and Ashley Phillips is the new hotness. The new hotness.
Is the new what? Is the new what?
Yes. So he's Eric Dyer's old and busted. He's broken down. He's awful. Why is he still at this club? I don't know why he's still at this club. If you are seriously sitting here reckoning in a high line, Eric Dyer under Ange, I mean...
No, I'm not making the argument that I don't want Eric Dyer at the club.
It sounds like you do. Sounds like you do very much.
This is how you manipulate and twist things.
You said he should have been captain instead of Son.
Suggesting is that you don't just throw against Manchester United tomorrow. You don't just throw someone in the deep end. You take them to the deepest part of the Mariana Trench, and you go, "There you go, lad. Get yourself in there. Oh, you don't need a life preserver. You ain't got a life jacket. No, you're just going to drown. But it's okay because you know what? I'd rather you drown." Than Eric Dyer drown, because we know Eric Dyer is going to drown, but you might just stay alive a little bit longer. It's embarrassing. It's an embarrassing concept.
Sean, will you agree to this? If we get 44 subs tonight and hit 10k, that you'll buy a shirt that says "I love Eric Dyer" on the back.
I won't spend £100. I'll buy one from my Italian Japanese. Yeah, I'll get that done. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, there we go.
And I'll donate it on. I'll donate
Alan. Just quickly. There are 712 people in here, right? 40. We are down to 43 subs for 10k, and for Sean to buy a shirt that says "I heart Dyer" on the back.
I think he already has one.
What?
You mean another one? I've got a couple back there.
You want the home or away?
I'll tell you what we'll do as well. If that comes in, I'll get one on the back that says "Phillips to start." There you go. I'll get one that says "Phillips to start." Right. Go on, Alan.
Sean's gone from saying he wants Eric Dyer in the team, he would choose Eric Dyer, to basically saying he would put him in the trench like with no life preserve. Sounds like a bit of flip flop to me.
Mate, listen. The way he's talking about him as though he's like prime Maldini at the back, like he's this steady centre half that commands things and can cajole and will teach the kids how to play centre half.
You've got two options, Savva. You tell me what's going to happen here, okay? I've got one last glub of my last beer of the evening. It's approaching midnight. I'm happy to go to bed, and I can forget about this whole conversation ever happening, and I won't judge your audience, because a lot of them are my audience too, and I'll forget about it, and I'll get up tomorrow morning, and I'm going to go to Tottenham, and everyone's going to be happy. Or if you continue this madness, I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to get a bottle of Prosecco out of the fridge. I'm going to crack it open and we're going to carry this nonsense on and see where we go. Like, you tell me in the comments, what do you want to happen? Because I'm okay with either thing happening.
I almost want to go and injure. I almost want to go and injure Sanchez and Romero so that this has to be a reality tomorrow. Like, I almost want to go to.
Imagine if that happened and literally Phillips died. Sean would be the only fan in the stadium going, "Why isn't Eric Dyer on the pitch?"
Yeah. Everyone else is going, "Go on, Phillips."
I genuinely cannot believe that 90% of you in the audience think that Ashley Phillips is ready.
But people are coming from other parts of the YouTube world to hear you defend Eric Dyer, Sean. You should be proud of yourself.
I think Eric Dyer relative to a child.
Child. He's a pro footballer.
Yeah.
8 man of the matches in a row. That is unheard of. Like, who does that?
Stop saying that, because people are going to listen to that and think it's true. Stop it.
Do you know what?
Premier League champions, Blackburn Rover. Lest we forget.
I heard you turned down Barcelona to play for Spurs.
Exactly. He did. Listen, so we'll move on from Sean and his newfound love for big Eric Dyer at the back. And I'm sure I heard something there about putting pen to paper on a new contract or 4 more years. I just something along those lines.
You want to get Pino back with the arm around the shoulder.
If Sean had it his way, he'd have Eric Dyer and Ben Davies as a centre-back pairing for the next decade. You know what I mean? But
I just think that Eric Dyer watches a lot of like YouTube content, and he's looking for someone who's going to be his mate. His bird is that hot. She must have some hot mates. Maybe out of all of this, I'm the guy playing 4D chess, right? I can get involved, see what's going on. So listen, you keep slagging him off, Eric. Bro, you can find me, bro. You can help.
Oh God, Eric, keep your wife and her fit mates unmarried. It's all right, mate. You're crap. Don't worry about that. There was a comment I wanted to get to. There's first of all, Kaylee Davis, big up Kaylee, who's a channel member, has said, Sean, even Bugsy Malone is better than Eric Dyer. Thank you so much, Kaylee. Blaine Dever said, Sean, your shirt's coming back to you with "I love Eric Dyer," #1 on the back. Don't worry, we'll look after you. Big up.
He was the first winner of one of my shirt giveaways. Big up, Blaine Dever.
And Jerome, big up to Jerome, said, Sean, you out of all people is defending Eric Dyer. Unbelievable. I saw you lose your mind because of Eric Dyer. Yeah, he's a flip-flop. He's joined Barry and Danny in their flip-flop nation. There we go. There it is.
Look at that
flip-flop gang. Here's an interesting one. Moving away let's talk about centre-backs. Sean probably rates this guy really highly as well. Blaine Dev has said, serious question, why have we not approached Cameron Carter-Vickers to come back? Ange coached him, he knows the system now, and is a player he trusts. Plus, you'd think potentially we'd have an option on him. Guys, I'm going to respectfully start by saying I can't think of anything worse, and I think that that's his level. I don't think that that's a player that should be coming back to Tottenham. Does anyone want to put up an argument, probably Sean, for why he should come back to Tottenham?
No.
That's tough. Anytime I've seen him in a Spurs shirt, he looks slow, looks clunky.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like an Ainge type defender. It sounds like a thicker Eric Dyer.
Hold on. Kudos in the chat, 1136. Cameron Carter-Vickers, LMAO, this fan base. The same fan base that have voted 90% to 10% that they'd rather Ashley Phillips start tomorrow.
Again, I think that poll's reflective of what how they weigh this. Do you want to see what you've seen, or roll the dice with something unknown? And I think
are you sincere? I know to me, this is a wind up. This is a wind up.
No,
I'm legit. I think his mindset, he's got the loser mentality. I think it's porous and it affects other players, and it's natural that other players.
We would get beaten 7-0 tomorrow if Ashley Phillips was on the pitch. Stop it, mate. What are you talking about?
I've seen Spurs let in 5, 6, and 7, all whilst Eric Dyer's been on the pitch, mate. So
no, you haven't.
Sean,
yes, I have.
Sean, can you? Savva, can you go to Ellie's comment at 11:35? Sean, you don't have to carry on anymore because Eric Dyer. Breaking news: Eric Dyer has subscribed to Spurs Talk Show. You don't need to keep working for him, mate. He's there. He's subscribed to it. It's all good.
I don't want Eric to. I want his bird, like whatever her name is, Sarah Dyer. I want her to subscribe to me. Then we're in. Now we're in business.
PTM, I'm definitely not going to pay to watch a video of Ashley Phillips on my stream. I'm definitely not going to do that. Not when we can just see him tomorrow in a Spurs shirt getting a man of the match performance. So it's all good. Pardon? It'll be 9 in a row. Yeah, he's a top player. He's going to be superb. I've had it on good authority. Listen, guys, on a serious note, not that we're not serious about Ashley Phillips, the game against Man United, can anyone see any changes in the 11 at all? If so, where are we seeing any changes?
So I've said earlier on a Man United preview show that I can only see one. I think he's not going to change the front line around too much to begin with because he's going to try and get that settled. But for me, Sarr has to come in place of Skip because Skip was just not good against Brentford. I don't know why he was in there to begin with. I see that being the only change. If there's more, I think that's a bit of a misstep, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, Jacob, I for one, I was a little bit surprised. The conversation last weekend before the game, I think a lot of people were going, would you play Sarr or would you play Lo Celso? Then when the team was announced, it was Skip. Were you surprised it was him, and would you keep him?
I'm not surprised. I mean, he did have a great game versus Barcelona's A team for majority of that match. It was a friendly, it was a preseason, so I could see why potentially having a brace versus Barcelona could get him in the conversation for starting. Personally, I thought Papa Mate Sarr was going to be that starter. I never really see Giovanni Lo Celso operate the areas out like in Oliver Skip, like the same areas that he operates in. Lo Celso to me strikes me as a James Maddison backup, a guy who can come in as a sub for James Maddison, occupy those same areas. I mean, it's an interesting thought to bring Lo Celso there and to play that Skip role as kind of that back and forth 8. But if I had to assume the 11, one change tops. I couldn't see 2 changes happening unless it's Ashley Phillips for Van de Ven or something like that.
You bring in Harvey White. Bring in Harvey White, guys. Let me know in the comments. Harvey White ready for Man United tomorrow?
If Harry Winks was still in contention, I would say give me Harvey White over Harry Winks.
Yeah. Dane Scarlett tomorrow instead of Richarlison, yeah? Let's figure it out, shall we? Okay, people. I gotta go. I can't stand this anymore.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
I gotta go. I'll be up early tomorrow. So I love you guys.
Sean, you can't go. You can't go on that note. You can't go because people like Ashley Phillips.
No, I'm not
who
going.
They've never seen.
I'm going because I've run out of beer and now I'm thinking about what happens if I open up a bottle of Prosecco. Does that
Fair enough.
Tomorrow?
Fair enough. Yeah. Listen, get yourself sorted. We're only going to go for another 10 minutes.
I'm going to go get a bottle of Prosecco. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. All right. We'll see you. We'll see when you come back. Yeah, guys. I mean, look, for me, I'd be really intrigued to actually see the Basuma with Maddison and Lo Celso. I'm not saying necessarily Man United is the game to try that, but I do think at home against probably some of the teams that we should be expected to beat, that I think that looks like it could be quite intriguing. If you can get the work rate from Lo Celso and from Maddison. Would any of you go for that? And what would the circumstance need to be for that to happen?
So, yeah, look, I would go for that scenario. But like I said, it's got to be, if we're at home against like your Sheffield United, your Forest, like who we're going to have most of the ball at, you need, I think we proved against Brentford that when Maddison's got the ball to play in the channel, which he can do to Richarlison, you've got an option there. But we didn't get enough of them chances. If you've got both of them, we have most of the ball. You have multiple sources where you can obviously have them drifting in just in between the right and left channels, but you can play side balls down into the wings. It gives you more option for penetrating balls. Whereas against Brentford, the guys on the wing, Son and Kulu weren't doing it. You had Maddison, who was obviously picking out balls side to side, but it was restricted in the balls like the short 5-10 yard balls into Richarlison. If you have another option to do that with somebody who can do that, and you're correct in getting the work rate out of him where he applies himself to the way Ange wants, against smaller teams, I think we're going to need to do that to be able to break down low blocks, because seeing how we play football, they're all just going to sit 10 yards off their like 18-yard box and go break us down. So we need that option at times.
Yeah, Jacob, listen, I agree. I think there are going to be games where you might need more guile than just Maddison. I rate Maddison. I think he's a top player, but sometimes during the game against Brentford, I felt like it was him or nothing. Like I felt like he wasn't really getting any support. It was all down to, does he do something creative? Him and Lo Celso in the team could offer you, both of them can float wide as well if they want, or tuck in, or come back. So would you ever see that as a viable option?
I think it's definitely something to at least explore when we look at the lack of output from the Oliver Skip position. If it's Papa Matasar, if it's Giovanni Lo Celso fulfilling that, you want to see some sort of progression. I don't think Manchester United are going to sit back in the same manner as Brentford, who are extremely solid in their shape, by the way. So I don't think it's going to be as hard for us to find these holes like you mentioned with Maddison. It was almost like he's here on the left trying to see what we could break down. Now the ball gets worked to the right. Now he's drifting over to the right. And I worry if you bring a Giovanni Lo Celso in that he doesn't occupy more space, therefore limiting James Maddison, limiting Heung-min Son. I worry about that aspect, and that's why I guess if it's a Papa Matasar or an Oliver Skip, I don't think that they're going to crowd those dangerous attacking areas like a Lo Celso would, because I think naturally his tendency will be to occupy those spaces. But he's a great passer of the ball. We saw when he's in a forward position. He did it all preseason. That's some of why he got bought in the first place when we loaned him. Let's remember, he has footballing ability. Now, personally, I don't like his attitude. I don't like his demeanor. I don't think, but that's another, that's aside from what I've seen preseason under Ainge. If this is a new and improved attitude from Lo Celso, then I don't see a reason why it couldn't work. I just worry that maybe if you bring him in, he might occupy some of those areas that I'm wanting to see Son cut into. I don't want to see Son just drifting out wide left out by the corner of their box right there. I want to see him drift into the inside, get more than one touch in the box, and let's see him do something with it. That's where I kind of stand with it. I just worry that if we have too many creators, that might limit the space for some of these players we're waiting to step up for them to do that.
Too many tens, right?
Yeah, what'd you say? Like a Swedish shop, yeah,
Swedish
nightclub. That's the word. Yeah.
By the way, just quickly, Fabrizio Romano has just said that João Cancelo to Barcelona is a matter of time. So that's It's not bad, is it? You get chucked out of Man City, you go on loan to Bayern Munich, and then your next loan moves to Barcelona. That's not three bad football clubs to go and play for. Sean, interesting one, isn't it? The whole last week with Skippy starting instead of Sarr. Are you expecting to see the same again tomorrow, or do you think Sarr's got to come in? The self, I don't know. What do you think the midfield three is going to be tomorrow?
I think it's going to be. I expect it to be. It's one of either exactly the same squad altogether, same team altogether. I don't expect Ashley Phillips to make an appearance. Or
He's not going to let this go, is he? He is not going to let this go now.
Because the 90-10 ratio has just riled me like you wouldn't believe.
It's not 90-10. It's 84-16. You know, give yourself some credit there. Give yourself some credit.
We're going to round it up then to 80-20, the 80-20 rule. 80% of people are wrong 20% of the time, I guess. Something like that. I don't know. I would say I think tomorrow is going to be it's either going to be exactly the same situation, it's either going to be exactly the same formation, or the only change I can really see happening is Pape Sarr coming in for Skippy. I don't think Lo Celso is going to do it. I think Tottenham would be mad to give Lo Celso a berth. I also think that Ange Postecoglou would, whilst I think that we all want to see something different with the front three, everyone's got their own version of what the front three should look like. Some people want Sonny to come into the 9. Some people want to see one of the guys taken out and bring in Manuel Solomon. I personally think if someone gets dropped after game week 1, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Ange is that sort of guy. So Richarlison's going to be there. Sonny's going to be there because he's captain. Decky has to be there. I've said this on Jacob's show and a few others today. Decky has to be there because of his defensive ability to win the ball back. So as much as I want him to do it, for me personally, I want to see those two swap, and I would like to see Ollie Skip swapped out for Pape Sarr to get back to your original point. But I don't think any of those things are going to happen. I think it's going to be as we were. I think it'll be exactly the same 11. And I think it will be similar techniques, similar strategies. And I worry about that because I think down our left hand, I think down our right hand, down our left, down their right, I think we're covered with the pace of Udogie and the pace of Van der Ven. But down our right, down their left, where they have all their pace and we have none, I think there's going to be problems. So yeah. Sarr should be there ahead of Skip. And if we want, and I think there should be some sort of pivot. I think they should invert Decky and Sonny and then go again, see what happens there. But that won't happen. So I'm expecting exactly the same.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. There's things I would do, but I don't think Postecoglou will do them. Just a couple of things here. We've got a new member. Palmsy has become a new member. Big up to Palmsy. You can never mistake that picture of a wonderfully put together Big Mac, and they never quite look like that though, do they? When you get them out the container, they never. Look like that. But they still, I believe they're quite a popular selling brand, McDonald's. So I don't think their marketing takes a hit there. Go on, Dan. You want to?
No, just obviously that Big Mac, that looks like a Phillips Big Mac, and the one that you get in the box that's thrown together looks like an Eric Dyer.
Superb. This is never going to go away, is it? Off the back of that, so Palmsy, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. Much appreciated. And Shafay is carrying on the banter by saying, whilst we're at it, can we let the work experience kid handle all our transfers?
There you go, Shafay. He knows what I'm saying. He gets it.
Shafay, why not? It took us 7 weeks to get Van der Ven over the line. I'm sure the work experience kid could have figured it out in 7 weeks. But
kids are impatient these days. He would have never waited that long. Yeah. Kids are impatient. Give him to me today or nothing.
Yeah. I've got other targets. I'm going to go and get them if you don't. Yeah. But big up Shafay and to Palmsy as well. Guys, I know you're probably bored of it. Me too. We're at 33 subscribers away from 10K. There's just under 650 of you in here. Come on, people. 33 of you. Here's a good question, guys and girls. I bet I've lost it now. Yes, I have lost it, but somebody in the chat put the question of who's going to have a better season between Odegaard. No, it wasn't Ashley Phillips or Eric Dyer because that would be Ashley Phillips. But between Odegaard and James Maddison. Now, I know it's not that simple. I don't know how you measure this, but what do you guys think? Because surely the impact James Maddison could be brilliant on this Tottenham team, right?
Yeah, for me, it depends on who's on the end of those chances putting them away. So you can only create as many because you've got chances created, and it changes to assists because it's got somebody on the end of it putting it away. So it just depends on who you've got, because if Son continues to be on the wing, he's not going to be in the middle, and if Richarlison's not hitting it like he didn't do last season, then he's going to create loads of chances, but the conversion rate to from chance created to assist isn't going to be high. Whereas Odegaard, a year with the team that he's been around, they know how he plays. He knows how they play. The type of football they play as well, as all said, they're going to have a lot more attacking threats than Spurs. So statistically, it's more likely going to be him. But in regards to what Maddison is going to create for us, which we didn't have in the previous 2 or 3 seasons, and the fact that we've now got a threat that can go from midfields, because we used to have to rely on Harry Kane to pick out a ball for somebody running behind him. Now, striker should be able to be there in Richarlison and have that ball met. So he's going to elevate Spurs massively, Maddison. It just depends on if we can have the right person finishing those chances should it come to him, whereas Odegaard will more likely have that for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, it's a good point, right? Because I think sometimes in football now, we look so much at purely just at the stats on paper as opposed to all of the other factors around it. Is it as easy to say that if one of them gets more assists than the other or more goals than the other, that they've had a better season? Doesn't it depend on who they're playing with, how well the team's doing, all those different things as well?
I always draw back to the stock prices for my world. A company can outperform, or a company can perform really well, but it's all based on relative expectations. If a company makes $1 billion of profit, it looks really good on paper, but if they were expected to make by the analysts $2 billion, then the share price drops. If they were only expected to make a couple $100 million, then the share price goes up. What is your relative expectation of Odegaard? What is your expectation of Maddison? If Odegaard is supposed to be the guy who creates and assists or is instrumental in Arsenal's season, and he does his job, and Maddison doesn't, then I think it's the only way that you compare like for like just based on goals and assists. You have to compare it based on what you expected from the player. And I think that Odegaard will have higher levels of expectation from the Arsenal team this year than Maddison will from Tottenham. But I actually think that Maddison has an opportunity, and I think he has every chance to actually really outperform because of if we do stick with our front three, if Richarlison learns the system, if the other two on the wide learn the system, and we get better at it, then I actually think that one of the takeaways with Richarlison playing that sacrificial lamb role in the 9 will be that you'll get the opportunity for Maddison to have pullbacks. Maybe not tomorrow, but against the kind of the lower half teams that are doing the low block, Maddison could easily get 12 goals this season, 12, 13, 14 goals this season. If he gets 14 goals and Odegaard gets 14 goals, I think Maddison has a better season because the expectations around Maddison are probably lower than that of Odegaard.
Agreed. I mean, Alan, I'll come to you, but I mean, one of the things, Angus, I just want to say this. When you're saying technically Odegaard is better than Maddison, okay, maybe. But what I would say is if we want to play this game, Maddison's done it for 4 years, year in, year out in the Premier League. His stats have been brilliant year in, year out for Leicester City, who are nowhere near as good as Arsenal. So, if we're going to base this on one season last year, I'm going to get their stats up, by the way. I'm just going to check. Go on, Alan. You do that. I'm going to check a few stats.
Big up, Savva. Have a great watch.
I know you've got to go, mate.
Sean, you've got to go. You do the same. Alan, big ups every single time.
Why have you got to go? I've got to be up in about 7 hours. Why can you go? When I tried to leave, Savva said, you're not leaving.
No. My wife is coming here twice, and I'm trying to not get divorced personally.
Listen. We're ending the show in 6 minutes anyway. So listen, Jacob, you go, and then Sean, you'll be able to go, and everyone will be out. It's all fine. Go on.
Good
Alan.
luck, everyone, tomorrow. Come on, you Spurs. We're gonna win 4-3. Call it. Quiz. 4-3, Savva. You heard it here first.
Nice.
Sean, you had to stay to defend that Dyer amount you were on, so that's why you had to stay. But no, I'm joking. It's all good.
Mate, I'm not dying on the Dyer hill, but you lot seem to be dying on the Ashley Phillips hill. Like it's mad that you're saying it. Anyway, we can move on. We're over that. We're over that conversation. He'll be ready, but he's not ready yet. He's like a piece of bread that you put into the oven, and you took it out after 10 minutes. That's what happens if you play him tomorrow.
Can I just?
Eric does that stale piece of bread that's been in the bottom of the bag for ages. That's what Eric does.
Would you rather eat a piece of stale bread, or would you rather eat a piece of bread that hasn't even risen at all?
Sorry, something you were going to say something.
Mad.
No, I was just gonna say. In the last 4 seasons, right? James Maddison scored 36 goals and had 8, 16, 25 assists. In that same time, Odegaard has scored 15 and 23 goals and got 7, 11, 13 assists. So when the Arsenal fans want to come in here blowing up, oh my God, Odegaard. If you look on average, James Maddison is very good year in, year out. Odegaard's had one very good season.
That's what I was
just
saying.
saying.
It's recency bias, because I remember at the start of last season when Odegaard signed, loads of Arsenal fans on socials were going, oh my God, why are we bringing him back? He's not done it, this, that, and the other. He's never proved himself. He has one great season, and everyone's like, oh my God, Odegaard's probably one of the best 10s in world football, or league, just going off with it. And I'm just like, okay, he's had a sensational season. But like you say, if you go to Maddison, he's done it year in, year out in the Premier League. And he's done it for Leicester as well. When in the declining Leicester's team, he was still doing it. So the whole thing of just because people go based on the recency, it was like, obviously, just a slight thing. Last season, when Son was having a bad performance, he had that game where he scored a hat-trick, came off the bench, scored a hat-trick against Leicester, and everyone was like, that's why he's back in the team. He came back in the team and did nothing for a while thereafter, and it was like, because he scored the hat-trick, people were like, that's why he should be in a team. Now, it's that bit where I'm like, people go based on recency rather than actually look.
Even Alan, let me start that again. If you look at both of their seasons last year, when we were talking about what Sean just said in terms of the expectations of both players, right? Last year, James Maddison played 30 league games, right? Got 10 goals and 9 assists. So he got 19 goal contributions in 30 games.
Yeah.
Right? Now,
in a team that got relegated.
Odegaard got 22 goal contributions, which is more, but 7 games more played. So
in a team that finished second.
In a team that finished second in a title race. So, when you look at that, and then the season before, Odegaard had 10 goal contributions across the season, and James Maddison had 20 again. So this Arsenal fan who keeps losing his mind in the chat, the problem is, Angus, I see you in all my shows.
He's a brilliant player.
He's a very good player. Hang on, Sean, he is a very good player. The problem is, Angus, you're like all the Arsenal fans that come into my chat. Your team's had one very good year, and no one's knocking you for it. You had a great year, right? But now all your players are the best players in the world in their positions. Yeah, no one else can compete with your players, apparently. And let's be brutally honest, right? The same way we're honest about Spurs, you didn't win anything. It's not like you're sitting here going, Odegaard led
won't
you
win
to...
anything this year either, by the way. They won't win anything.
Right, so listen, by the way, I think Odegaard's a fantastic footballer. I'm not saying he's not, but when you look at... I mean, I've done 1 year as a sample size, and then I've done the last 4 years as a sample size. James Maddison, statistically, is the better playmaker in a number 10 position than Odegaard, and he plays for a worse team. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
Yep.
Mic drop. But guys, it is 23:59 in the UK. I can't believe there's still over 620 people in here.
I've got a big day tomorrow. I'll go out there and protect Eric Dyer. I've got to make sure that Ashley Phillips is kept where he needs to be in his incubator period. He's got to be like nurtured. He's got to come off the teat of the under 21s before we get him going. So
What I was about to say was it's 11:59. We are going to end the show so that we can all be in bed by midnight. Sean's got a big day tomorrow. He's got to go to the Spurs Club shop, get that shirt printed on the back. Listen, Alan, thank you to both of you and your mustard wall for turning up tonight. It's kept us all entertained. Thank you very much.
Right. What's the go with that wall colouring scheme? Can you explain it to everyone? Is it as bad as your takes on defenders that are ready for the Premier League?
Says the one that's defending Eric Dyer.
In comparison to a guy who's never played at the level. That's the context. What's the context with your mustard?
I would rather
explain your context.
I will say context. I'd rather tumbleweed at the back than Eric Dyer. That's what I'd rather. So I moved in with my missus, and basically the guy we moved in, he left. He was of Turkish descent, so he's got vibrant colours all over the place.
Oh, so okay. Wait, why have you got to turn it that way? So now I can't continue to mud you on your colour scheme because I'll be racist if I do. What are we doing? What are we doing here? I mean, we got a Turkish barber on the bottom shelf, and now we got a Turkish homeowner on the top shelf.
I can't believe
what's going on.
To be fair, first of all, I don't care. I'm just telling you what it is. You asked for the truth. But I can't believe Savva actually didn't put up the barbecue comments that came in after he said he was going to barbecue yesterday. They were really good. But yeah, that wall will be going. So it'll be different colour once I can decorate everything. So it will be going. So it won't be mustard, hopefully, for too much longer. But we'll see.
Yeah. Big up to absolutely everyone. Big up, Sean. Listen, enjoy the game tomorrow. Everybody, I'll be back tomorrow at 11 o'clock with Dave for Irish Hotspur for pre-match review. And then we will be having the watch along from 4:30. So please join me for that. Listen, it is what it is. Spurs are what they are. Phillips and Dyer are what they are. One's an 8-game man of the match recipient in a row. The other one is Dele Alli's best mate. Listen, let's move forward.
What are we doing here?
Let's move forward. And I'm going to put the link in the chat as you walk out. Please smash that subscribe button. We're now 30 away. If I wake up tomorrow to 10K, I might get a little bit excited. Much love, everybody. As always, even to the Gooners in the chat, thank you for watching. And come on, you Spurs.